90 days of semen retention, man. 90 days, a full 90 days. I did it. And first of all, I don't want no sort of, congratulations or anything like that. I did this all for me. To prove to myself that I just could. And it may seem like a silly concept. I understand it. It sounds a bit funny. It sounds a bit, corny or ironic or whatever. But it's really the first piece of your life that you need to fix in order to, start to fix everything else about your life. Like if you're still struggling with lust within that way, within that aspect, this is the first step that you have to take. It's mandatory. And I've been trying to do this for, maybe about a year now. Really, really trying, making it to almost 30 days and then relapsing. 30 days relapse. And I kept doing it over and over and over again. Right? I didn't understand how I couldn't just push through. And then I gave myself an ultimatum and I actually made it happen. I made it work this time. 90 days in, man, is a big achievement for myself. Because not just the semen retention alone, but everything that came with it. The person I started to become because of it is a much better version of who I was. And I'll explain, throughout this whole video, all of the benefits from the beginning to up to now. But man, it's been like, some days have been kind of tough, but I got through it. Especially in the beginning, that first, 14 days, 7 to 14 days is going to be the biggest struggle point. Once you get past that, it starts to get easier and easier. So let me start getting into it. At first, in the beginning, I was trying to go for, as long as I can on these streaks. And I would go for about 30 days. And then I would relapse. And then every single relapse got worse and worse and worse. Like my mental after the relapse would be horrific. Like I would be so anxious, immediate depression. I'd start thinking about, all the things I've done wrong in my life. I'll just start thinking in the past and not be able to, live in the present at all. And on top of that, I wouldn't have any energy left. Like after those moments, after the 30 days, I would relapse. I would have to sleep off the next, couple days to even recharge any of my energy. Like I would just be so depleted that I'd have to just try to sleep away the days. I'd be so depressed and in my feelings, and I just had to get back through the days in order to start up the streak again, in order to, get going again. But I didn't give up. That's the main theme of all of this. No matter like how many times that you fail in life, do not give up. And I know it sounds funny, like this concept of semen retention, it is, kind of funny in a way because, you're talking about not coming. It's kind of a weird conversation. But it's a conversation that needs to be had. Watching all that, adult content constantly, you're addicted to it. You don't realize it, but you're addicted to it. And it's messing up the way that you function. You have no drive because of it. You wonder why. You think maybe it's your testosterone or this or that, which it could also be. But a lot of the time, it's because of your drive. You have no drive because you're drained all the time. You have no desire. You have no lust for life. That holding on to that empowers you and tricks your mind into thinking, okay, we need to mate. We need to reproduce. We can't die out like this. So then it helps you get your shit together. So then you could actually elevate. It helps you actually, start to become a man. Like, in all aspects. So, okay, the first, You try to just get through the first couple days. I was sleeping the days away. I'll keep trying to do it again and again and again. And then, I would have a wet dream. And I'll get into this a little bit later. But I'd have wet dreams. And then those wet dreams would get me so aggravated because I've been on this long streak and now I'm having a wet dream. That's pretty much a relapse, right? I might as well just relapse on my own while I'm conscious, while I'm awake. What a waste. And then that's how it would keep happening every single time. So then, I needed to really focus on not having that happen anymore. And I haven't had that happen at all, like a wet dream, in the past 90 days. Because I started to change my environment. Like, I really wanted to change. You have to really want to change in order to actually change. It sounds like an easy concept, but it's way harder said than done. If you truly want to change, you will. You will do the things necessary to change. So, I wanted to change this aspect about myself, like, so bad. Because, it was just straight loser activity, man. It wasn't even like I was, at this point in my life, just banging a bunch of chicks. No, I was just addicted to, adult content. That's horrific, man. That's sad. That's real sad. Getting off to another man, shanking a girl that I would want to, that's just sad. That's just some, like, true loser activity. So, once you come to that realization and you really, have to fight against it, and it's going to be hard too because everyone's going to just tell you it's normal. You're getting in too deep. It's normal to do that, man. You got to release or you're going to get too angry. You're going to explode. You're going to have all these health problems. That's all a lie. That's all cope because they can't do it. Right? So I wanted it bad enough. So then I started to get it done. I started to remove, watching, not watching, but like scrolling through Instagram or anything like that would trigger my mind to, want to go on, any website and start cranking it. That's how you got to do it. You got to remove all of that from your life because that's going to trigger you. And then you're going to get in the mindset of, that lustful, like, man, I need it. And then you just go back into your old habits. So you got to remove that. And it's good for like a couple reasons to remove social media from your life in general. But that's one of the biggest reasons. It's Instagram. It's flooded with that. We know this. Come on. The algorithm just, even if you don't want that content sometimes, it'll just spawn in. It'll just pop up. Like, it may sound like I'm just trolling, but no, like, that content will genuinely just pop up when I'm like watching, like, motivational reels or like gym stuff or whatever, and then that will pop up and then that will trigger me, and then you know how it goes. So if you're struggling with that, you got to remove all that. And you can't just keep watching the websites as well and linger in there and just, edge or something like that and try to cope with, oh no, it's good for my mental to do this. No, it's going to lead to a relapse or a wet dream, which should also lead to a relapse, which you don't want to do. You want to just keep moving forward, keep progressing. Like, the only rational reason for you to, end up coming again is if it's across, some a bitch's back that you love or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, just when you're trying to have kids or something at least a little bit more respectful. If you go back to the websites and, mess up a long streak with that, you're a loser. Like, you got to come to the realization you are on some loser shit and you got to get it together. So yeah, I came to that realization, got rid of all that, and then I started to proceed forward. It was real strugglesome for the first week, the first 2 weeks. It's all that was on my mind. That's all that I wanted to do. I was just peak horny and just, I'm around, women in the gym, women everywhere. I'm just feel rabid, like an animal. And I feel this need to release, but I just have to resist the temptation. Start distracting my mind with the right things. That's another thing that you have to start implementing as well. Start implementing good habits and start sticking to those. It will take about like 30 days, the first 30 days, to fully start to get that recharge and start to feel that energy and get so far removed from watching that adult content that then it just starts to get naturally easier. But before that, you really just need to lock in. That's it. Like you really need to remember how it felt when you relapsed. And that's not how you want to feel anymore. You want to change. And remember that, keep that in the back of your mind. Write it down in your notes, in your notes app, exactly how you felt when you relapsed. You felt depressed, you felt like anxious, and, you wanted to just, so write that down. Make sure that that is there for you to see in the future. So then even if you get that urge, you don't do it. You look back at your notes and you're like, no, bro, I just gotta push through. And you want the benefits. You're going to want the benefits as well. So you gotta push through, or else you're going to have to restart and try to do it again when you could have just been moving forward in the first place. That's the thing with a lot of things. Like, a lot of people try to like build this momentum and then they fail, they binge, they whatever, and then they have to restart again and again and again, and it keeps you in a cycle. So try to make this your last time. If you fail, if you tried everything and you still failed, just try again. You're going to get better and better and better. It's going to get easier and easier. And then you're going to get to a point where you can, stop with this really bad addiction. But, I just pushed through, got to around my first 30 days, and I started to feel real good. Real good in the gym, a lot of energy. And, I was still real like horny and all that, but it felt more controlled. I was a bit more angry and I felt like I just had more power, but it was all very controlled. And now the whole female attraction thing, maybe here and there you would kind of feel it, you kind of sense it, but nothing major just yet, like 30 days in. So 30 days in is just like that first little recharge. You start to get a little bit recharged, and then you feel like a normal person should. You shouldn't be depleted all the time. That's not a normal state of being. If you're doing it out of love, maybe. I don't know yet. I haven't gotten there yet. So 30 days. We're 30 days in, and then you just keep going. Like, it gets easier. You start really instilling the good habits now. You start instilling the good habits and start to think about just everything, like everything going on in your life, and just start like cleaning it up. Like every bad habit you've ever done, you just kind of start wanting to clean it up because you got over this like crazy addiction, the worst thing, like the hardest thing you could have ever possibly removed from your life. You're starting to get it done. So now you feel like you can get everything else done like underneath that. So then you start to try to like clean up your finances, maybe clean up debts, get in better shape. If you're not in the gym, you start to get in the gym. For me, I started to really focus more on my diet, my nutrition, really wanted to eat better, and really wanted to just, peak out my potential a little bit more. But I had more momentum, more motivation to just keep on going in this moment in time, And then like, you get to a week or two goes by, and then the thing is you start to feel this in cycles. Like it may feel like there's some sort of a like flat line, so called, where you just like, You're not sure if the benefits are working anymore or something like that, but it's a slow process. And you have to understand everything in life like comes up and down. Like you start to flow like water. So, you know, the waves could crash, but then the waves go back in, you know? They go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's how water flows. So then you start flowing like water, and the semen retention process starts flowing like water. Everything starts flowing like water. So once you're deep enough in, you know, you'll start to like every so often, you'll just feel that spark again. And you'll be like, oh my God, like it will really just activate in you again. And then you're ready to go. You're ready to go, and you start to just, you think of more things that you can start doing, you know? You've been on this hot streak. You started cleaning up a lot in your life. You know, a lot is cleaned up now. Okay, what's next? What's the next step? And usually, like, for me, I started going down, you know, a more creative endeavor. I wanted to create more. So what did I do? I started, you know, posting up on YouTube 1 to 2 videos a day about like, yeah, I think it was about 40-ish days in, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe like 30 days. But 30 days, I don't think I was still like consistent at all yet. But now like 40-ish days in, I started to get real like serious about it, real consistent. And then, you know, I just kept going with that creative endeavor. And then, you know, I just kept going, you know, a week or two. And it like mentally, it started to get a little bit rough and started to get a little bit hard to handle. Not because like at this point, like I didn't feel lustful anymore. Like lustful in the moment, yeah. Like if I'm around women and I'm like, yeah, she's bad. She's like, I'm gonna be looking and all that. You know, it is like I'm still a guy. But like not lustful to the point where I gotta run home and go like jerk off. Like just didn't happen anymore. Like I didn't even have that thought in my head. But still like still a bit lustful. But it wasn't like, it wasn't hard to like hold on to this streak anymore. But it got hard to like start to be around other people, negative people, people I just didn't want to be around. Like certain people at work or this or that, like certain environments really just bothered me because I was turning into this new person, and all their negative energy, man, I couldn't handle it. Like, and I would start to get so angry and just have to hold my anger. It depends on like, I feel like this is very like person to person dependent. I'm always someone who, you know, is very like back and forth, either like really having a good positive day or really just really angry. Like I'm really just like deep into my emotional state a lot, or I'm real like sad and just like hard on myself. But we'll get into that a little bit further down. So I'm somebody who like goes back and forth emotionally. So for me, it feels like it just amplifies all of that. So you got to really focus on, you know, staying positive and staying in this real clean state of mind, and then using that anger for good, you know, transmuting that anger into a real good gym sesh, or just like, you know, really grinding it out at work. You know, I feel like super powerful at work and all this, and I'm like cutting down at this point. I'm cutting down and I'm dropping weight, but I still feel real strong. I still feel real good. You know, my sleep is like almost non-existent. Maybe once a week I have a good like 8 hours of sleep, but the rest of the week I'm running off of like 3-4 hours of sleep, and I still like drink caffeine just because it's a habit that I just enjoy. I'll just be honest. I don't want to get rid of it. Even if I don't necessarily need it. I don't drink as much as I used to drink the caffeine, but regardless, everyone has their vices, so it is what it is. It's not really like, I don't see it as a bad thing for me. It just enhances all parts of my life, so I'm gonna keep, you know, drinking it. But you know, but I'm not like real dependent on it. I don't need it. I I don't really need too much sleep. 3 hours and I'm ready to go. 3, 4 hours. 5 is like real good. That feels real nice. But 3 or 4 hours and I'm good to go. And this is like, I'm good to go in a sense. Like, I'm ready to go hit my gym session, go real hard while I'm like dieting pretty hard. I'm getting pretty lean right now, dieting pretty hard. And then I go into work for like a 10-hour shift of just like warehouse work, just straight like sweating and lifting up heavy things. I'll be tired by the end of the day, like, don't get it twisted. But during the whole day, I have like a lot of energy for only sleeping for, a couple hours. So that's a benefit that starts to, happen at like, the 40, 50 day mark. But yeah, at around that point, I was maybe struggling a bit, going back and forth in my head, not knowing like, what I even wanted, what direction was for me. And then boom, like you get to around 60 days in, and that's when it starts to like change a lot. Like your whole mentality starts to change a lot. Sorry if I'm going like a little bit too quick. Like I'm just real, like I'm not trying to lose my train of thought, and I'm really like fired up. Like I made it to 90 days. Like I'm fired up, man. And this is like, all of this is just to help motivate you guys and inspire you guys to like try it out as well. I'm talking about all these benefits. Like you can maybe feel these too if you just give it a try. And it's like literally free. Like you just gotta tell yourself that you want to do it and really want it bad enough, and you'll give it a try. And maybe you'll get it done, like, and you'll feel great after. It's really to inspire you guys and like keep inspiring myself to, stay on the streak. So 60 days in. 60 days in, and you start to like, your mental starts to sharpen up a lot. Like the universe just starts talking to you. This is where it gets all spiritual and all this stuff, but it's all backed up by, physics and quantum physics and all that, how manifestation works and all that. You could really like do your own research and look it up. But that's not what this video is about. But you start to really, the universe starts talking to you and showing you your plan, showing you what you're supposed to be doing, and like completely like telling you like, yeah, this is your path, go do it. And then you're like, all right, bet. Like you're all fired up. And then you just like, you almost autonomously, like a robot, you just start doing it. Like you just start learning how to do certain things. Like you get a fundamental understanding of your direction. For maybe like the first time in your life, you're like sure of where you're heading and what your direction is and what you're supposed to be doing, like what your purpose is. And then it really like, it really became all that I thought about. And then it just started to manifest itself. And I wanted to, get to that version of myself. So now, after the 60 days, I'm just doing everything in my power to, get things going, get everything going, get the motions going. And, really, really locking in on my diet, really locking in on, business stuff, getting all these new ideas, and really cranking out these YouTube videos, getting better with these, getting, learning how to talk better and learning how to just like get better with these videos in general, and make longer videos and make more videos and just really have a blast with these, get more in my creative bag, because this is my creative bag. Like I love the creation like format of this. I just like just talking to the camera straight up. I always just talk. It feels great. It's awesome, and it's really like keeping me, like pushing me forward. So this is all in all, the diet, this business stuff, my financial situation in general, just making sure I stay locked into work and, budgeting a lot better and just doing all these things. to move me to that right direction that I always knew I could go to, but like I was always shaky on it, always, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. No, like it just makes you go for it. It makes you like move a lot quicker and have that urgency to really just smash it, man. And then, I still struggled a bit from time to time, but it would be every so often I would have a day and, the everything is just testing me. And then I question a lot of this, that. But what I realize is all this just, the longer I go along too, it just amplifies everything. So if I stay in a positive state of mind, it amplifies, all of my positivity. If I believe that like I'm real lucky, man, I'll be real lucky. But if I believe like I start to get that disbelief in myself and get discouraged, then like, not like crazy bad things will happen, but I'll just get in my head. But you get immediately out of it. And then once you snap out of that, boom, you're just right back to it. You're right back to it. And it's not depressing away like, oh, I gotta go jerk off. No, like it's a different sort of like, you just get discouraged and you just question if you're on the right path and things like that because you just didn't get enough sleep or something like that, or just had a rough day at work. But as long as you keep that positive frame of mind, boom. And 60 days into 60-ish, that female attraction amplifies, male and female. Everyone just starts giving you gifts. Like guys just start walking up to me at work, giving me extra water, buying me Gatorades. And it's not on some like, yo, I like you, you're cute type of thing. It's not like that. No, it's on some like respect sort of a thing. Like a lot of people just start to respect you, and either people really enjoy your presence and like you, or they hate you, they despise you. At least for me, that's what I've seen for my experience. But maybe that's just like the type of person I am. Maybe I'm a little bit more like pulverizing in a way and intimidating. So if they're just like really intimidated by me and they feel my presence and they're such a negative person that they can't handle it, then they back down, they stay away, and that they won't confront you. No, they'll just like put their little tail between their legs and just have their head down like a little bitch. But otherwise, everyone else is cool. The female attraction is on tenfold. Like the looks that women give me, like, yeah, I'm getting leaner, so it could be an aspect of it, I understand. But I have this certain energy about me all the time. Like some days I just feel like I'm just this godly presence and I have this glow and I feel just elevated, man. I feel like I'm just attracting everything to me. But a little bit deeper, maybe 70 days in, now you start to get like just real lucky with everything. Like everything that you deserve, I don't like to say want, but that you deserve, is already out there for you, starts attracting to you. You're doing the things required to do it. You're kind of on this autopilot mode where you really crave the hard work and you want to do the hard things. So then that kind of becomes a byproduct, but you're definitely just a lot luckier. Like if you have anything with like an algorithm or something like that, the luck will be on your side. If you're like, for me, I'll be trading as well, and the luck is just on my side tenfold. When like things shouldn't go right, they'll still go right. Like it's just kind of like this weird phenomenon. And that just reinforces that I'm lucky, and it's just gonna be the cycle of just knowing that I'm lucky and make me luckier and luckier and luckier over a longer period of time. But yeah, the woman attraction is a double-edged sword, because if you did it for woman attraction in the first place, then I guess you can achieve your goal. You could definitely get like a girlfriend or something like that if that's your goal. But if you're trying to do this to just, strictly fix your life, then it's a little bit tough. Like you gotta resist the temptation of women. They will come up to you, they will touch you, they will talk to you like in that, flirty manner. But you gotta dub it. You gotta just ignore it and Keep it pushing. You're on your purpose. You're on your journey. Remember that. Don't forget that. And it's not only about semen retention, but in general. You should do all of this to get better, to get ahead, to really change your life. And you're not going to do that, by, starting to cater to a woman. Unless maybe you find a really good one along the way, then great. Maybe that's what was meant to happen during this process for you. But for me, there's not anything that I want right now. All I want is to get better. And that's having me struggle a bit as well. About 75 to 80 days in, you start to just only want to succeed in just everything. You want to just get better. And this may sound good, right? And it is a good thing. But the days where I don't give it my all, I'll get real in my head and I'll get real just aggravated with myself. I'll start to really get angry and just mad that I wasted the day. I wasted my potential for the day. And it'll really get to me, which is really good though. It's a really good thing. It's positive reinforcement. It's like somebody, being on top of you, telling you like, no, you need to do this, you need to lock in. But you have that you have yourself to hold yourself accountable, which is great. And it's making me just, stay on point more because I don't like that feeling. So now I'm just going to stay on point more. It's just going to, a byproduct of all of this is it makes your life significantly better. Like you will see as I go along this journey, I'm not stopping anytime soon. I'm only going to evolve. I'm only going to get better. I'm only going to get luckier. I'm only going to get stronger. I'm only going to get more fit. I'm only going to get better. So with all of that in mind, this is only the beginning of the process. Now we're about to 90 days in, right? The full 90 days, and I'm full of energy. I just want to go. I'm just ready to go at all times, and I'm just ready for more life. I'm so grateful. I'm so detached from the result. I don't care what happens, but I'm just so happy with the person that I became internally so far because of this process and the standards that I'm starting to hold myself to, that I have this sort of pride to myself now, and maybe some ego too, but not in a bad way. People chalk up ego to, that's a bad thing. You shouldn't be egotistical. You should be prideful and egotistical if you can back it up, and not that doesn't mean be an asshole to people, but you should be prideful for what you've done and what you've achieved. The person you were years ago could have never done this. I'm talking to you, Zach. The person you were years ago could have never done this. You've came so far from that point. And you just keep getting better and better and better. So just keep on going. That's the thing too, man. I like to document all of this so that, number one, you guys can see the whole process. But number two, I can look back on the entire process of how I won. How I won my life. How I won against myself. That is why I record these videos, man. And maybe it will inspire just at least one person to, make a change in their life. I've been a failure my whole life. My whole life, man. I'm 27 years old. I've been a failure my whole life. And now I understand completely how to win, and there's nothing standing in my way for me to not win. So I'm just showing you at any age, at any whatever, no matter how many times you fail. I've been in so much debt before. I've had so much bad things go on because of myself. I've always battled myself, but you can overcome that. I'm going to show you guys. This is very early on in the process, but you're going to see everything transpire from this process. You're going to understand one day, you know? And like I said before, on this journey, a lot of people will hate you and a lot of people will love you. But that's how you know you're doing something right. Already on this, like this on itself, putting myself out there, I have a lot of, a lot of people that hate on me. And then a lot of people that love me, like are inspired. And those people who are inspired, that's what it's all about. That's who I'm doing it for. The people who are hating, who cares? like real shit. But that's the thing. People are gonna love you, hate you, it don't matter. Just know who you are. Like the 90 days, it made me transform into the person that like I know I can become. Like I'm becoming that person I always knew that I could become. And now, like deep down in my heart, I already feel like that person. I just keep becoming more like him, more and more and more, until I get to the point where I look back on this entire journey and I'm like, yeah, like I was right. I was right about everything. That's why I document all of this. I document every single day, how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking in the moment, and how much I evolved during this process. It's going to be 100 days, 200 days, 300, whatever. 2 years, 3 years. I'm just going to keep going and keep inspiring everyone, that you can change at any point. You can change. Don't care about what anybody says about you. You can change it. You can get it done. You can do it. I know that you can, because I was somebody who couldn't for a very long time. My whole life, I couldn't. And then I tried to get better, and I tried to change into a new person every single time. And then I did it eventually, but then there was a new battle at hand. I needed to become a new person again and again and again. It's always a process of evolution. Never get comfortable in your position in life. Never get comfortable with what you're doing. Always just try to do better. And as long as you give every single day your all, your true all, you will start moving in the right direction. So I hope this inspires you guys to, start along this journey if you haven't already. And just keep on trying. No matter how much you fail, just get back up and keep on trying. This is only the beginning for me, for you guys. But this is the start of everything. It's only the first 90 days. This is when things start to pick up. So you'll see what I'm talking about years and years down the line. You'll understand. And I can't wait to watch this back, years and years later. And be so happy that this person right here, created that future version of me. Saved myself. I'm doing it for all versions of myself. And I love this. I love making these videos. I love every aspect of this. And I'm never going to stop. I love you guys so much. Peace out.